the heated explosion from the MotoGP paddock has rocked the world of MotoGP once again. While other teams are still deciding on next season's bike development, Ducati made the most aggressive move yet. Its boss reportedly became impatient and forced Marc Márquez to ride the Desmercedesi GP26 early, before the competition was ready. Tensions are rising, rumours are swirling, and the atmosphere in the paddock is boiling over before the season even begins. What is driving Ducati to rush Marquez onto the track? Let's discuss it. This tension didn't come out of nowhere. Over the past 2 seasons, Aprilia has become the most formidable opponent Ducati has ever faced. The black RSGP from Noale has taken off like a rocket, changing the MotoGP power map in a matter of months. Their speed is no longer surprising, it's a stark warning. The major revisions they are preparing for the 2026 season are said to result in a significant technical advancement, including much smoother braking stability, even more impressive cornering speeds, and the ability to maintain grip in areas where Ducati has long excelled. If this prediction is correct, Aprilia's threat will be more than just a shadow. It will be a massive wave ready to engulf Borgo Panigale's dominance. Ducati knows one thing all too well. Being one step too late means losing its throne. That's why the GP26 must be perfect from the moment it hits the track. No compromise, no margin for error. All of this can only be achieved if Marc Márquez provides input from the early stages of development. During increasingly heated internal meetings, Ducati's top executives no longer hide their anxiety. They know the riders have data. Test riders have logged thousands of laps, but only one man possesses something no computer can calculate. Marc Márquez's uncanny instinct. He can sense differences as small as 1 mm in the swing arm pivot and detect micro vibrations that don't show up on telemetry. He is also the only rider willing to put extreme loads of arm on the front end just to test the limits of the bike's stability. A Ducati mechanic said quietly, as if not wanting to reveal his anxiety, "Our data is complete, but without Marc, it's like having a camera without focus. The GP26 is built on Marquez's aggressive character, wild instincts, and extreme riding style. Without the world champion present at every evaluation session, Ducati's development direction would be half-blind, merely guesswork without a solid foundation. With Aprilia under intense pressure and emerging as a new threat that cannot be ignored, such a risk could backfire more than ever before in the history of the Ducati project." Marc Márquez is still recovering from a right shoulder injury he sustained in a serious accident in Mandalika at the end of 2025. The impact wasn't just a bruise, it seriously damaged his ligaments, requiring intensive daily therapy. His treating doctor issued a stern warning. Pushing himself too hard could prolong the injury and jeopardize the world champion's long-term career. However, in MotoGP, time is often the worst enemy. With each day that Marquez is absent, Aprilia and KTM grow closer. Without his input, the development of the GP26 stalls, leaving Ducati engineers to work in uncertainty. In public, Ducati maintained a professional image, speaking of urgency, efficiency, preparation for new regulations, threats from rivals, and an intense race against time. Everything appeared polite, measured, and diplomatic. But the message hidden behind all these statements was unmistakable. "Marc, we need you, whether you're ready or not." Marquez felt the pressure. He could sense it from his manager and his technicians. He could even feel it in the stares of the engineers in the garage. But his body wasn't ready. During shoulder training sessions, a subtle ache would appear, reminding him that he was no longer the superhuman teenager who could fall 10 times, get up, and turn the throttle again without consequence. Now, his limits were determined by a biological reality he couldn't ignore, not by guts. The drama reached its climax when Claudio Domenicali, the CEO of Ducati, made the boldest decision in the company's history. He contacted Marc Márquez directly, not through his manager. He didn't contact him through the technical team, or even send an official team text message. Domenicali chose the most direct route, voice-to-voice, face-to-face, with no filter. His tone was tense and almost trembling. The words that came out of his mouth stunned the MotoGP world instantly. "We need you now, Marc. You don't need to race. 10 laps is enough. Experience the GP26 and give us direction. We can't move forward without your guidance." This wasn't just a request. It was a desperate cry born of exploding internal pressure and the collective anxiety of the entire Ducati MotoGP project. Through these words, Domenicali indirectly acknowledged a harsh reality that he did not want to voice publicly. Without Marquez, the GP26 was in danger of being released prematurely, which is a deadly risk in an era of increasingly brutal competition. Marquez wanted to return. He wanted to lead Ducati in the face of competition from Aprilia, KTM, Yamaha, and Honda. He wanted to defend his title and demonstrate that his new era with Ducati had only begun. However, beneath his steely determination, he was acutely aware that his body wasn't fully ready. His shoulders weren't strong enough yet, his joint rotation wasn't stable yet, and extreme braking from 300 km/h into a sharp corner was still dangerous. A comeback too soon would not only risk failure, but could also be disastrous for his career. He quietly but firmly told his team, "I want to come back as soon as possible, but I have to come back properly." Two scenarios loomed over Ducati, which would determine the tone of the 2026 season. The best-case scenario was that Marquez could return before the Sepang test. This would give Ducati the opportunity to finalise the GP26 and adapt every detail of the design to Marquez's signature riding style. They could then start the season with full confidence. However, the worst-case scenario was if he returned too late. Ducati would be forced to start the season with a conservative setup, losing early momentum and opening the door for rivals to seize the lead at crucial moments. This is Ducati's greatest fear, that without Marquez in the early stages, they'll lose not just time, but also direction. Amidst the mounting pressure before the Desmercedesi GP26's internal testing, Claudio Domenicali wasn't the only one to speak out. Gigi Dall'Igna, known for his calm demeanour and rarely showing emotion, also spoke out. His statement was far sharper than anyone in the paddock expected. During a technical meeting that was later leaked to the Italian media, Dall'Igna reportedly issued a subtle ultimatum to Marquez. "We've waited too long. The GP26 can't wait. Marc has to try this bike, even if it's not 100% ready. Just 10 laps. We need direction, not excuses." Marquez continues to force his shoulder to move, inch by inch, through recovery training, grueling simulator sessions, and endless telemetry analysis, trying to rediscover the flexibility and power that were once his weapons. He knows Ducati is waiting with bated breath. His rivals are pressuring him not only on the track, but also psychologically, waiting for the slightest opening. He knows the entire MotoGP world is watching him, as if the fate of the 2026 season depends on his recovery. The GP26 is ready, while the new regulations demand clear and swift development. Will Marquez emerge at the moment Ducati needs him most? Leave your thoughts below.